Happy Monday evening, everyone. Buckeye Scoop family, Buckeye Nation. How you doing? How you feeling? Hope all is well after this Super Bowl Sunday weekend. Do me a favor, hit that like button. If you have not subscribed, please consider subscribing. Also, for the podcast folks, you Apple folks, hit us up on Apple Podcasts, save us there. Also, you non-Apple folks like me, a proud non-Apple folk, Spreaker.com. Hit us up there. Two best platforms for podcasts if you don't want to do the YouTube, but you should do the YouTube anyway. But if you don't, that's where you'll go. Also, we're going to be talking about some massive intel with the winter workouts, great stuff from the helping technician. And then we're going to talk about the question mark of Matty P to the Raiders and what's going on with that. So, yeah. A lot to talk about on this Monday. Also, heads up, the homie Dev from the Buckeye Boys will be going after us tonight. So be prepared to slide over there after the show. And then remember, when you send those wonderful super chats that you guys do so well, helps go towards the Pay It Forward, which is our military and our first responders. We're going to look out for them because they always look out for us. Nevada, happy Monday, sir.
Hey, thanks, Ben. I'm like Scrooge McDuck here, swimming in my pool of gold coins after my miraculous Trey Henderson over 4.5 yards receiving. You guys didn't notice the game. He was at 3 yards with one play to go in the Super Bowl, and they threw it to him, and he jotted for 19 or 20 or what. I stopped counting after he went over two and cashed the prop bet. So won my Seattle bet, won my Trey Henderson prop bet. So all is right in the world.
Man, that was so cool, man. Listen, I was happy as if I won, y'all. When that happened, I was like, you got to be kidding me. Nevada, bro, like, how crazy was that for you? It was literally the last play, y'all. Like, were you just kind of like, oh, well, I'm not going to hit it? And then you was like, how did that happen?
You remember he kept throwing to Stevenson. He would throw to the other back over and over and over again, and then he was throwing these little check down passes at the end. And I really thought that if he would just look at Trey, he'd throw a check down to him. And right before the last play, if you go back and watch this thing in the Super Bowl, he says something to Trey in his ear, and in my mind, I'm like, oh my gosh, he's going to throw it to him. He just told him to watch out. He's going to throw it. And sure enough, he did. And he went. So, yeah, all was right in the world. I love it when you win a bet on the last play. I thought it was a good bet the whole way because Trey got a lot of playing time. There were a lot of check down passes. And I thought, New England was going to be behind, trying to throw to catch up. And it all kind of broke down that way. And I just didn't account for Drake May being as ass as he was yesterday because he really struggled. Well, I should say the left side of that line really struggled, man. Like, I don't care how good you are, rookie left guard, rookie left tackle, man, they were getting their booty kicked all day, and that made it tough on the quarterback.
Yeah, that was tough. I mean, you talk about you want to show a tape of what it means to be sped up, like, football clinic. What does it mean to be sped up? That was sped up. I mean, everything was off. And it was just the line. It was Drake, because Drake May had time sometimes, and maybe the ghosts in his head made him miss when he did have the opportunity. But yeah, it was just bad. And Seattle just absolutely feasted. And it was, not the greatest, most entertaining game, but Seattle and Jackson Smith and Jigba are world champs. So kudos to them. Congratulations to them. And real quick before we get into the topic, I had an eventful weekend. Nevada are my Cheez-It basketball team. I coach, for those who don't know, I coach 9 and 10-year-olds. Me and my fellow coach, Coach Steve Grinnell. God bless you, brother. We coach 9 and 10-year-olds. So we were on like a losing streak. Now we're on a winning streak. The Cheez-Its have won 2 in a row. They're playing well, Nevada. They're understanding spacing more. And like like the rewarding feeling as a coach for anyone who has coached out there, to see when these kids are starting to get it little by little, just little principles and fundamentals, and they're getting it, and you can see the progression. That's just so rewarding. So one on Saturday morning, and then my son, and I sent Nevada a little video of how jealous I was of my son. He had a video game bus pull up to the crib. All his friends hopped on and played. But honestly, the highlight of their party, Nevada, was they had like a little Royal Rumble in my basement. They were just fighting, like fighting, roughhousing. They seemed to enjoy that more than the daggone video game bus. But, gotta love the young boys getting it in. for my son's 10th birthday. So, and then of course the Super Bowl and more snow, more shoveling. Eventful weekend for me here in Columbus, but we should get some melting snow coming soon, Nevada. The temperatures are going up to the 40s at some point this week. So that's how I am over here in Nevada.
Well, I'm glad that you survived, and I'm glad. I think what makes for great coaches is great players, and it's good that your kid is better than anybody else in the league too, and that's probably why you're winning games now. You know what I'm saying? You're out there eating nachos on the sideline where your kid's dominating the other kids out there or something.
No, listen, they got some nice kids in this league. There's some nice kids. I was just like, there was one kid a few games ago. I was just like, he got a step back in his bag already. I mean, this kid was like, he was nice. I'm like, man, timeout. Nah, but but
asking
no,
for
no,
asking for a birth certificate. The kids out there in a beard and stuff like that. You're like 10. How are you 10, man?
Oh man, yeah, bro. No, this yeah, my son's coming along. He's got a lot to learn, but he has some talent. He had his best game. He was defensive MVP of the game. He had a couple of nice buckets, but he's got some more learning to do. But I can see the talent, and I'm gonna make sure he's on point and all that. And hopefully he's 6'9", 6'10", even taller than I am. So we'll see. But anyway, let's get to the topic at hand. Helping Technician dropped an excellent nugget today, talking about several things. And Nevada, I'm gonna let you kick it off because I want your thoughts on what you read and what you got from that, because it's a lot of good stuff in there, brother.
Well, let's talk about the just kind of the elephant in the room, which is the Matt Patricia Raiders rumor stuff that's kind of percolated around. We can kind of go that, and then we can kind of go to some of the other stuff.
Sounds good.
This is a rumor that had gotten started, somewhere in the Ohio State sphere. Somebody had kind of speculated about it, and we've been doing some checking regarding. Now, I think what people have to understand is a background on this, because people, I think, are not understanding exactly Matt Patricia's status with Ohio State. Matt Patricia came in 2025 and signed a 3-year contract with the Buckeyes. So he is under a 3-year contract, keeping him here through 2028. If nothing else happened, nothing else needed to happen, because he still has 2 more years left on his contract. And I believe that was at $2.5 million a year. Now, there's rumors started that he's looking at that they've got a 3-year, $3 million per year extension in front of him, kind of a recognition for the good work that he's done here at Ohio State. And I think that's what people are waiting for to be announced. But again, keep in mind, nothing need be announced because he's under contract for 2 more years. So it's not like he was under a 1-year deal and he was going to be leaving at this time. So the best information that we've got on this, I think there's obviously with Tom Brady's relationship with the Raiders, anybody who's got any type of connection to Brady via New England or whatever is going to be linked to Raiders jobs. And from the best that I can determine from my Las Vegas contacts and from talking to the agent contacts, the most likely people coming on board are Joe Woods, Carl Scott, Aiden Dirty, Jim Schwartz, the former Browns coach. So I don't believe Patricia's going, but it is a little curious that they haven't announced. But I really believe that the word that I've got on this is that it's just the agent kind of doing due diligence on everything, making sure that he's kicked every tire, they've crossed every I, they've crossed every T, dotted every I, and that there's no reason to believe that he's going. But I think after what happened last year with Chip Kelly, I never say never anymore. Because last year, Chip Kelly came in, signed a multi-year deal with Ohio State. They won the national championship, and then he left. And that's a guy that was very, Ryan and Chip are very close. I've heard rumors through the agent community that him leaving after 1 year, when he had committed to do multiple years, created kind of a schism with him and Ryan Day, which is part of the reason why when Chip Kelly became available the second time around, that he's not here at Ohio State. So I don't know if that's true or not. I'm not going to say that I 100% believe that, but it's out there. And that's what the agents are talking about. And the fact pattern would certainly follow something like that. But I think, what I do know is that when these coaches come in, they're asked for a multi-year commitment. Obviously, that's not, they're signing a multi-year deal, but contracts, people can get out of contracts all the time. So this is more of an informal, hey, I don't want to just bring you in for a year and have you leave. I believe that Patricia has told players that he's coming back. He's told recruits that he's coming back, and it's certainly at this point it would be kind of a betrayal to Ryan for him not to come back. So I would say, right now there's probably 5 or 6 guys higher up on the Raiders list. They're going to get one of those guys. And I do not believe Matt Patricia is a viable candidate for the Raiders, but it's out there. So we definitely wanted to talk about it because it's not the craziest thing in the world that his name would come up in conversations with an open DC job.
Yeah, no, that's good insight. And because typically what happens in Nevada is rumors and stuff gets out there and people reach out to us anyway. And then we circle back and we address it. So now we're just addressing it now because eventually you'll probably hear it. But like Nevada said, and even helping technician, they were asking the question in their post. They were saying, do the Raiders pull another Ohio State coordinator on the heels of the Chip Kelly disaster? Does Matt want to go to the NFL after seeing Chip and Justin Fry get whacked after 1 year? I mean, yeah. I mean, college football, the job security at Ohio State is greater than the NFL. You literally can get whacked. He is beloved here and paid pretty well, and could possibly get paid even better after his first great year. The NFL will always be there. That's just how I think. That's how what Matt, his agent, is also thinking. But yes, it makes sense to do your due diligence and wait this out until the NFL season is completely over for leverage purposes, for whatever. But yeah, I mean, I think that the strong money is still on Matt Patricia staying. But yeah, it's what it is. But like Nevada said, he's still under contract. But I think the Chip Kelly one and done has people a little leery and expecting an official announcement, but he's under contract. So he doesn't necessarily need to announce anything per se. You know what I mean? But now that the NFL season is completely over, I think we'll see some type of something to solidify that we don't have to hold our breath, right, Nevada, at some point.
Yeah, no, I again remember it's late in the process right now. I mean, for Matt, if Matt left now, you know what I'm saying, when the musical chairs is kind of all kind of spun and done. I
Yeah.
mean, and again, and I hate even using these hypotheticals but it would be kind of a scumbag move. You know what I'm saying? I mean, it'd be bad for him to do that. And I 100% agree with that. I don't think Patricia's a bad dude.
Yeah.
I think he's the exact opposite. I think he's been nothing, if not engaged and loyal, to Ryan and to Ohio State. And when you've got multiple Super Bowl rings, you've been an NFL head coach, you've been an NFL offensive coordinator, you've been an NFL defensive coordinator. Your point about the NFL is still going to be there really rings true because there's not a lot of things on his bucket list that he hasn't checked. You know what I'm saying? Like he's done it all. So at this point, it's not really about money. It's not really about chasing some sort of fame or whatever it is. I mean, he's checked all those boxes many times over. I think it's about job satisfaction, being where he wants to be, his
Yeah.
relationship with his kids, his home life. I think there's a lot of other things that go into it, and yeah, all the more reason why I believe that he stays at Ohio State. And I've been hearing that might stay here for a bit. So I would not be surprised at all to hear him, that he did sign an extension and that he honors it because I really do think that Matt is enjoying his time here at Ohio State and is really enjoying reconnecting with the kids. I think it's kind of rejuvenated his love for coaching, and I think that's really important.
Yeah, I agree. I think the connections he made with kids here was real. It was legit. And I think it kind of rekindled some things in him, from a connection standpoint and the ability to teach younger guys who may appreciate it more than some of the NFL guys. Just saying. But yeah. So, but also, again, a lot of stuff in this helping tech nugget that I wanted to get your thoughts on as well, Nevada. Ryan Day, the note about Ryan Day noticing the improvement in the Steelers' operation between the QB and also gaining sharpness of the offensive line, during Arthur Smith's 2 years at Pittsburgh, and that, of course, pertaining to the run game. I wanted to get your thoughts on that. And then, of course, the game plan revolving around J.J. Smith, which I mean, I'm not shocked by that. But again, we had several people who were panicking and, terrible hire because they felt like Jeremiah Smith, for some ungodly reason, will be phased out. But hearing this, another specific update about this from Arthur Smith is definitely ear candy. Nevada, what you got on that?
Well, yeah, and I think what we're hearing is that Arthur Smith is coming in, and one of the questions had been asked about terminology, if he's changing terminology, and he's not changing terminology, but they are changing some of their protections and some of some of their slide protections, some of their scheme, some of the stuff that they're doing in the passing game as well as in the running game, and that's where a guy like this really comes. The biggest impression that I'm getting from people from talking to them is just the stark difference, and it's a stark difference between having Arthur Smith there as the OC and having Brian Hartline there as the
Yeah.
OC. And again, none of this is meant to be let's bash on Brian. He's gone. Let's bash. Brian was an unbelievable recruiter. Second to none in terms of took the already great wide receiver recruiting in Ohio State, took it to a new level, and will forever be grateful for him for doing that. So let's just put that aside. But strictly as an OC, it's not close. I mean, it's not close between a guy who's had as much experience as Arthur Smith, and I just think the weight of having a guy like that, just the way he carries himself, and the way when he says things, it has the force of authority of a guy that's been an NFL head coach, that's been that was just coaching Aaron Rodgers last year. So the guys, they really listened to him, and the other coaches really listen to him. And you got to understand that Ryan has set this whole thing up. That Ryan very much wants to be the CEO. He wants to turn the defense over to the defensive coordinator. He wants to turn the offense over to the offensive coordinator. He wants to turn the special teams over to the special teams coordinator. And he wants to be out of that stuff so that he can focus on the other big picture CEO type of thing. And now, that job, there's a lot of things that go into that, with NIL and transfer portal and fundraising and administration and academics. And, you could just go down the list of things, recruiting the portal, recruiting high school kids, evaluating your own talent, evaluating other teams. I mean, there's a million things. Being the elder statesman and kind of the spokesperson for college football. You look at it now with Ryan Day. Ryan Day is one of the graybeards of coaching now. You know what I'm saying? Like you're looking for who are the spokespeople for college football. It's Kirby Smart, Ryan Day, and maybe Dabo, or people may not like him, but that's who we're talking about now. You know what I'm saying? So I think for Ryan, he's just got so many responsibilities that go beyond. And last year when Brian Hartline was the OC, he couldn't do the type of stuff that he wanted to do because he had a guy in there that had never been an OC before that was kind of dragging him back into the muck, and that stuff happened. And I don't think I think for us to ignore it is just being silly. And I think Ryan, Brian Hartline did him a favor by doing this. And I just can't wonder if in the back of my mind, when Ryan apparently told Brian that he intended to be here for a while, and maybe that accelerated Brian's path of choosing another head coaching job and doing that. I just wonder if he had this in the back of his mind that, hey, something, I need to have an adult in there. I need to have a more senior guy that I can turn. I look at what it's done with me when I had a Matt Patricia here on the defense. I'd love to have that same thing on offense. You just wonder if that was in the back of his mind in terms of doing it, because Arthur Smith has just been an absolutely breath of fresh air for this Ohio State offense, and I think it's going to really play itself out in 2026, where we're getting the second year 2 of Julian Sain, year 3 of J.J. Smith. Years 3 and 4 for most of the offense, very veteran, maybe the most veteran offensive line we've ever had at Ohio State. An experienced tight end room, 1,000-yard running back coming back, and so we've got a lot of weapons here, and this guy knows how to deploy them. But the most important thing is he's a guy that can take complete control of that OSU offense and let Ryan be the CEO. And I think that's really what Ryan Day does best.
Yeah, for sure. And I'm almost guaranteeing he had the thought in the back of his mind of an adult in the room, as you mentioned. But we know at that point that was the necessary move to keep the ship afloat right? The best case scenario type of situation to keep things going. And even with that, they still only lost to Indiana by 3 and Miami by 3. I don't give that last touchdown any credence. But, shoot, I feel like I know people are just sour about the season, but shoot, considering Hartline being a newcomer at the play calling position and the youth we had and the guys we lost, the fact that we got to the point we got to, I thought was pretty darn good. But yes, but now Nevada has another former head coach and adult in the room on the offensive side of the ball. And I know he is just giddy with excitement to be able to be confident to step back fully and trust that his OC understands the assignment. And that's an understatement, of course. But yeah, he has to be excited because again, Ryan Day, he has consistently talked about the head coach of the unit, of the defense, of the offense. As a matter of fact, I don't know that real quick as I'm thinking about it. Is that something Urban Meyer started, or did Ryan Day start that? The head coach of the defense, because the first time I remember is when he was talking about Knowles when he hired him, but I don't know if that came from Urban or not. But either way, I truly believe that's what Ryan Day wants. It's like, hey, that's you, do your thing. Yes, I'm the head coach, but I trust you to run this ship fully.
Well, remember for years, Ryan would, had his fingers very much in all the pies, what I'm saying, like that. And Ohio State administration had to go to him and say, hey, look, you've got to kind of take a step back and do this. But I think it's more of kind of a recognition of just what the job entails in 2026. The job is so different than what Urban Meyer did. It's so different than what Jim Tressel dealt with. I mean, it's a completely different job now than it was. And so I think this is really the only responsible way. But you talk about these new innovations, we talk about the transfer portal or the Signetti way in Indiana, where they did whatever and stuff like that. But this thing of let's hire ex NFL head coaches to be your coordinators. I mean, that's just just when you say it out loud, when you sit there and you kind of take a step back and you kind of look at through the history of Ohio State, some of the coordinators that we've had, good, bad, and some guys in the middle, but to have 2 ex NFL head coaches as your coordinators is crazy.
Yes.
I mean, it's absolutely crazy. So, I'm still kind of getting used to the fact that we get this and people are kind of ho hum about it or nitpicking. Well, look, they nitpicked Matt Patricia's career before he came here to Ohio State. As we've talked about many times, that wasn't like an overwhelmingly positive hire from the media, the fans, or whatever it was. Same thing with the Arthur Smith thing, but he was a freaking NFL head coach. And he's now the offensive coordinator. I mean, last year we had Brian Hartline up there. Brian Hartline had never been in the booth before. I'm saying, kind of wandered around up there, and now he's trying to call plays. And now we've got Arthur Smith doing it. It's like, holy guacamole, man! I mean, what an upgrade for Ohio State. And it's one of the reason number 750 why I'm so excited about spring football and so excited about this 2026 Ohio State team. Is these 2 unbelievable coordinators we have here with the team.
But Nevada, Pittsburgh Steelers offense, they were sucky. That's how our offense is going to be, Nevada. Aren't you afraid? Aren't you terrified? But no, man, it's just, listen, I'm not going to rag on them too much today, although it's very annoying. And I see a super chat that I will touch on that I agree with, and we'll get to that in a little bit. But I wanted to also spend a little bit of time on the J.J. Smith part of the nugget. Basically emphasizing Arthur Smith, making J.J. Smith priority 1 in this offense. Basically the game plan the plan will all revolve around J.J. And so I guess for a comp, for his ability to do this, going back to the 2019 and 2020 seasons with Tennessee, A.J. Brown. Okay, not only did we talked about this pods ago, not only did he make freaking Ryan Tannehill, No offense, but Tannehill's no Joe Montana. He's no Dan Marino. He got him to the Pro Bowl in that offense. Okay. A.J. Brown in 2019. He had 52 receptions for 1,051 yards, 20.2 average per catch, 8 TDs. And then 2020, he went up a tick with 1,075 yards, 70 receptions, and the average was close to the same. The point is the way he used A.J. Brown, because again, Derrick Henry was there. Yes, they had a powerful rushing attack. They ran the ball well, but they had 1,000-yard receiver. A.J. Brown was a 1,000-yard receiver 2 years in a row in that offense. He ate because the run game obviously was established. We know football 101. You get man coverage. You bring more guys in the box to stop the run. You got to bring down big old Derrick Henry. You get A.J. Brown one-on-one. Your best receiver is going to eat. Jeremiah Smith is going to eat. He's going to eat in this offense. If you think Arthur Smith is going to ignore our receivers, namely J.J. Smith, because he wants to run the ball, 2 clouds in a cloud, 2 yards in a cloud of dust, you're delusional, or I don't know where your mind is. I'm excited, Nevada. I was excited about when the ability to get Jeremiah Smith in positions to eat out the gate. But as we get closer and closer and more, and I've dug more into the statistics and his track record, yeah, man, the run game going and being more consistent is just what the doctor ordered for this offense. It just is. And so I'm excited, Nevada.
Well, I think what you have to remember is why Ohio State wants to make J.J. Smith the tip of the spear. Other teams are scheming, and they're sitting in their little rooms, and they're going, okay, look, we got to take away J.J. Smith. We have to take away J.J. Smith, because if we take away J.J. Smith, then Ohio State's got to go to their left hand, because they want to. It's like the basketball player that favors the right hand, and he favors the right hand. You want to overplay and take the right hand away and make him drive to his offhand. You know what I'm saying? We've all been there. We've all seen those guys. And it's like, for Ohio State, that's the situation that they're in. And the way you do that, and this was kind of part of Arthur Smith's pitch to Ryan Day when he was in the interview. It's all about balance. It's about balance. And you saw it last night in the Super Bowl at the beginning of the game. The Seahawks are going back and they're throwing, and the Patriots were jumping the routes and almost basically. And so what did they do? They switched up, started running the football with Kenneth Walker, started punishing him with the run, started bringing him in, and then they could hit him with the pass. And then they hit him over the top. You know what I'm saying? So it was a classic, punch, counter punch thing. And I would think with Ohio State, that's what this is going to be about. It's like you can't just be Chuck at Charlie and be trying to throw it to to J.J. Smith every time. You've got to figure out ways to create balance on your offense, and then put him in different spots. Look at the Seahawks had Jackson Smith and Jigba in the backfield. They had him in the slot. They had him on the outside. They had him in the inside. They had him stacked. They had him at tight end. I mean, that's what you got to do with J.J. Smith. You've got to move him all around the field to kind of change the way that they match up with him, and you've got to be able to run the football. And I think with Bo Jackson and with this offensive line, I think if you're unpredictable and you have some scheme and you create some constraints and you do different things that are checks on the defense, we'll be able to run the ball efficiently. And when we do that, it'll open up for JJ. But it's always about JJ, but it can't be exclusively about JJ. And that's the difference. And that's the subtlety. And that's where having a guy like Arthur Smith, who's been in NFL, because you just say, hey, we can't forget JJ. We need the inexperienced play caller then tries to force the ball to JJ. You know what I'm saying? The experienced play caller sets it up so that you can exploit the defense for trying to overplay JJ, and then you go back to JJ. You know what I'm saying? That's the subtlety. That's the secret sauce, and I think that's where Arthur Smith's going to be so good.
Exactamundo for you Demolition Man fans. Yeah, I mean, that's where I feel like Nevada. I feel like Kyle Parker. You go look at Kyle Parker from LSU. Nevada and everybody listening, watching, go watch his film. What did LSU just force feed him with? Screens. He was very good at screens. He has great speed. He's quick. He's shifty. I mean, okay, go ahead and overplay. I mean, we got Legend Bay. I know he's a true freshman. Not trying to put a ton of pressure on him per se, but he is a weapon. So if the defense wants to overplay JJ Smith, we got options to make you pay. Shoot, even if Bo Jackson, a screen to the opposite side to Bo Jackson or whatever. Ennis can pick up 10 yards quick and move the sticks. We have weapons. Arthur Smith has a lot to work with this offense. And I'm just super excited. And so we can get the super chats real quick. I see y'all in the chat. Shout out to my brother Dev. Yeah, he's been cooking with the interviews. He's the best in the industry with these interviews, y'all. Just go look at his lineup of interviews. Yes, the Welsing interview was great. He has Zion Grady coming up this Friday, which I'm looking forward to. I think Zion Grady is on par for a breakout year. He flashed several times last season, and I know the coaches are high on him. Looking forward to that. Make sure y'all go through and check out his interviews. Nevada, you got anything on that before we move on to super chats?
Well, and he told us he was going to streak at the Super Bowl yesterday, and then sure enough, and he did it, man. That was awesome. Great job, Dev. We won our prop bets on will there be a streaker on the thing. Good job there, Devin, getting out there on the field. We're proud of you, buddy.
We're going streaking. Anybody know what movie that's from? Y'all got 30 seconds.
Old school.
You weren't supposed to say nothing. Never mind. Nevada, he said it, but yes, Old School. Will Ferrell, classic movie. Freaking hilarious. I love it. All right. Had Snoop in there. little cameo from Snoop in that. Stilly Matt, thanks for the 199. Have the Cheez-Its run the picket fence yet, B? No. So the rules in our league, you can't have multiple screeners. So on the picket fence play,
What?
Nope, no multiple screeners. There could only be one screen at a time. So, like, basically what I wanted to do, Nevada and Stilly, is I wanted to run some down screens, right? So when they come down court, here's the other thing in this league. The defense, they have to get across the half court and set up. They can't try to steal the ball. They have to allow the team to bring it across the line, okay? 9 and 10-year-old league, that's just what it is. So anyway, what I wanted to do is have them set up in their spots, the 4 and the 5 on the lower block, 3 and the 4 on the wings, and the 1 bring it down, and then call the play, and then the 2 and the 3 set a down screen, and the 4 and 5 come up to get them loose and to get the ball, and vice versa. Can't do that because it's considered a double screen. Now I got around it a little bit by not having them screen per se. I didn't have them screen. I just had them go and just do that action to get them moving. So I was able to get around it, but no, Stilly, I can't do the picket fence in this league, Nevada.
Yeah. The other thing you can do is you just kind of run that motion at the top offense where you're just kind of running and the guys are just kind of naturally kind of getting picked off at the top. Because if you're doing the multiple screen, I like those elevator screens where you open the door and then you close the door with the guys in there and turn doing it. But that's 2 guys. But just that multiple stuff at the top, I think you guys just roll right off that and go right to the basket.
Yeah, for sure. And again, the double screen, that's fine. That's fine. I didn't really get too upset about it. It's fine. But the biggest thing, honestly, Stilly and Nevada, is getting these boys to understand spacing, and they're understanding it more and more. And to me, it's opened things up. We got a pretty good set of guards who can penetrate, when things are opening up, and then that's been opening things up for other players. And I'm like, see. The last 2 weeks, knock on wood, have not been a bunch of guys hunched over with 3 defenders over them trying to take the ball while one of our guys is waiting for them to pass the ball. You know what I'm saying? Because the spacing has been established. So anyway, I'm not too much in my coaching bag right now, but it's been good to see. So, all right, what we got next? Gio did. Thanks for the 5. Matt P did a segment on NFL Network this morning giving his analysis on the Super Bowl. They never really asked him anything Buckeyes related, had OSU gear on. That's dope. I didn't see that. I'm going to find that. Gio, was that on, you said on NFL Network. Okay. I'll probably end up seeing the reel on my timeline, but if not, I'm going to go and try to find it because I want to see that, Nevada.
Yeah, I didn't see that either, but it is kind of funny because when I've been kind of checking with my NFL contacts, my Raiders contacts, agent contacts, they're all kind of looking at me like real, like you're worried about that. And I'm like, hey, I just want to check. I just, last year I didn't really
Right.
give a lot of credence to Chip Kelly doing it. And then all of a sudden it happened. So I at least want to just go through the process in terms of doing it. And they're like, well, maybe if five of the guys said no, but it doesn't look like it's going to be that way. So I'm feeling good about him returning. And yeah, it's good to see these rocking the gear on the
Yeah.
NFL Network.
Yeah, no, that's dope. And I'm curious to hear what he said and hear his breakdown. I mean, because he's just, if you hear him talk, I mean, obviously he's intelligent. He's a freaking rocket scientist. Sorry, literally. So I always enjoy hearing him, and also on YouTube, I've listened to some of his what do they call it? Not clinics, but I forget what they call it. Not a symposium. I don't know. You know, when the Sabins and they give their lectures and stuff like that. He's dope with that too. So thanks, Geo. I'm gonna go check that out when I get the chance. All right. Will the Thrill, thanks for the $9.99. If Matty P left, we'd almost have to hire within, right? It would be too late to open up a new search. I think he stays and holds out until he's offered by an NFL team that has a chance to win it all. Yeah, I think that's a fair thought. Although Nevada, in this terrible hypothetical situation, which would not be very ideal for us, the defensive coordinator position at Ohio State, I think that would uproot some cats. I think that would oh, let me get up out of this contract type of stuff because you know what I mean? Like that's a big job. And all of a sudden, some people might have to reconsider where they've put down their roots, Nevada.
Well, I mean, remember, we got Chip Kelly from being the head coach at UCLA to come to be our offensive coordinator. You know what I'm saying? So when that just happened, and that wasn't 25 years ago or something, that was like 2 seasons ago. So the idea that you could get just about anybody in the college ranks to come and consider taking that, I think that's a fair thing. But it would be a little bit of a fire drill. And again, I know we're all playing the hypothetical game, and I don't think we're going to go there. But once we pulled a head coach from a Big Ten school to come be our offensive coordinator. So I guess it's fair to say anybody could be potentially fair game.
Exactly. Yep. You emphasize what I said even more. Exactly. Case in point, Chip freaking Kelly, who could have went and been a head coach somewhere else. So yeah, I mean, if that happened, I think it would send certainly a buzz through the coaching ranks to get this job here at Ohio State, for sure. But we are believing that we should be good to go, and it shouldn't be a worry. But great super chat per usual. Will the Thrill, you always good, man. All right, what we got next? Geo did another good one. Thanks for the 5. It's amazing how just 1 year ago, some quote Buckeye fans were whining about how horrible a hire Matt P was. Now those same fans are worried about him leaving. Oh, Geo did. You're great. It's true, but some of them are acting like they never said anything. That's just what happens. But yes, again, y'all, I will remind you, for those who are new to this podcast, me and Nevada were we didn't know ball. We were being sunshine pumpers. Didn't you see what happened in Detroit? I mean, I had people on my Facebook page saying, wait and see, you'll see. We'll see what you think after the Texas game. And I mean, just visceral, just like we were just the dumbest guys on the planet. And then, of course, the local beat people here in Columbus weren't liking the hire. It's really, honestly, early on until people started trickling in the door, we were like one of the few cats that was actually out the gate. This is a dope hire. And so, yeah, it's just funny now. And now a lot of the people are doing the same type of thing with Arthur Smith, calling it a terrible hire for very limited, surfacey type reasons, in my opinion. Nevada, what you got on that, bro?
Well, yeah. I mean, I like the way I remember. We were one of the only, if the only podcast that was positive about Matt Patricia for sure. And the Arthur Smith stuff. Look, it's not. We've talked about this. If Ryan had gone a different way, our response could have been very, very different to how we're responding to the OC. But you're just never going to get me to bag on a guy that's been a former NFL head coach and recently, not 100 years ago. So, the fact that he's so experienced, had so much success, and you say what you want about him as an offensive coach, but coaching Tannehill, AJ Brown, and Derrick Henry, that was about as successful as Tennessee's ever been there, at least offensively. And, that they were kind of the envy of a lot of teams in the NFL. So, sign me up for more of that in 2026, and I really think that's what we're going to get from Arthur Smith. So I'm certainly excited about it.
Yep, for sure. And listen, I'm not going to act like we were just how can I put it, Nevada? You said it in a better way. But basically, what I'm trying to say is it shouldn't be looked at as if we were just some crystal ball savants who could just see what everybody. In my opinion, Nevada, everyone should have saw what we saw. Like, to me, it was obvious. Like, oh, this is obviously a great hire. Looking at this man's track record, I said this a couple weeks ago about the Arthur Smith stuff. You do yourself a disservice by only looking at or cherry picking a guy's resume, especially in the NFL. Even for look, shoot, we keep learning our lessons on even players. We talked about Sam Darnold. You just never know in this league. There's a lot of journeymen. There's a lot of moving around. There's a lot of panicking and let's do this. And there's a lot of dumb moves like let's keep J. McCarthy and get rid of Sam Darnold. I mean, it's hard to fully judge a player, but specifically a coach, off of one or two stops or their most recent stop and completely ignore how they cooked at other stops because that's their total package. You can't do that. And so we weren't hung up on Detroit with Matt Patricia. For one, he was a head coach there. He was coming here to be a D coordinator. But even with that said, it still didn't negate what he did with New England. You know what I mean? It's just like thinking.
But be serious. Okay, let's say this out loud. Okay, we have a guy who's the only person in the history of the world to have been an NFL head coach, NFL offensive coordinator, NFL defensive coordinator with 3 Super Bowl rings, and he wants to be our defensive coordinator at Ohio State, and somehow that's a bad idea. Like,
Bro. Yeah, that's
I mean,
that's
come on,
definitely
man.
that's definitely a okay. Now say it out loud with me, and then you say it out loud. You're just like, well, when you put it that
Oh,
way, I am dumb. Like
yeah, come on.
and so that's what I'm emphasizing. It's just like it's not like we were just well, we were the only smart. I mean, it baffled me that there were so many dumb takes with that. It's like it was the obvious thing to say, oh yeah, this could be at the very least you could say, you know what? The potential of this hire is dope. Detroit didn't work out, but look what he's done in his track record, man. Ooh, it was a bunch of terrible. This ain't gonna work. I hate this. But whatever. All good, all good. We got them, and we saw the results already, and it's only going to get better. So what we got next? Gio did once again. Thanks for the 5. Arthur Smith is going to put college football defenses on skates with his schemes the same way Matt P does to CFB offenses with how he schemes them up. Yeah. Again, that's one thing I was also thinking Gio did is like he's coming from the NFL ranks and he's coming to Ohio State. He's not just going to college. He's not going to Tulsa. He's not going to Oregon State. He's not even going to Purdue. He's coming to Ohio State with all of this NFL personnel that we have. Right? And so, yeah, we got a tough schedule this year, but scheming against defensive coordinators in college and their personnel is a whole different animal than in the NFL. So, of course, he's rubbing his mittens together with J.J. Smith and Julian Sayin, who is still good despite what some of y'all think. He was a first-year starter, you guys. Like, he's going to get better. And so, again, I'm excited, Nevada.
Well, yeah. I mean, look, the NFL is a league where it's all about parity and equal talent. The draft is set up to create equal talent in the league. The schedules are balanced schedules, and right. I mean, everything about it is about giving every team the same amount of chance. And in college football, it's not that way. You have great inequality in 90% of the games. You're in 90% of the games, you've got an overwhelming talent edge. And so now you've got a guy with the intellectual firepower of Matt Patricia or the intellectual firepower of Arthur Smith coordinating our offense or our defense against college coaches. And I think that's we saw how unfair it seemed this year with Matt Patricia. I think it's going to be similarly unfair with Arthur Smith, who again, I sat down in a room with Arthur Blank, or the owner of the Falcons, and convinced him to put his $5 billion franchise in his hands as the head coach. That he aced that interview. That's how sharp this guy is. And now he's our offensive coordinator. I can't wait to see him cook. We need to give him like the Sharon Moore little chef hat and sit back and watch Arthur cook.
Oh, but he'll actually cook, and
He'll
not
cook.
be
Not
like you
not
said the other
not
day, sexting at halftime.
not just with the butter knife. No cooking with the butter knife.
Butter knives, only Ginsu over here, baby.
Oh my
Only
gosh.
Ginsu knives over here. Oh man, that was what you just said was bars though. He sat down with Arthur Blank, and he was like, "Oh yeah, you're gonna be my head coach." Yeah, he's a bum. There's no way he can come to college and do well. Idiots, man. Anyway, all right. Stilly Matt, thanks for the 199. Happy belated birthday, BJ MVP. Yes. Happy birthday to my son. It's crazy. He's in the double digits now, Nevada. Kids are growing up. I know you've been there, done that, but I'm right in the midst of it with younger kids and just seeing them grow. But yes, I was very proud of him. He played great defense, had several blocks, steals. I mean, he was all over the place, and he did well overall. So thank you for that, Stilly, man. Anything on that, Nevada?
Well, yeah. No, first of all, I love hearing his defensive player because you understand Nevada but kids were always exceptional defensive players because we were so limited offensively that we'd be like, okay, here's the deal. You're going to play defense because you're going to care about it more than anybody else on the court. And my kids would be the ones that would like guard the guys all the way up and down the court. And you know who I'm talking about. And you know how annoying that would be to have somebody pick you up full court and guard you the whole way down the court and stuff like that. So yeah, it's you guys. You're blessed though, because I'm sure your son's gifted offensively. Gives even my kids could only play defense. So, but it warms the cockles of my heart to hear he was the defensive player of the game, though, man. Way to go, BJ.
Yeah, but listen, it's funny if you saw me coaching. Like for those who know me, like I'm vocal. I can talk. I talk for a living, but Nevada, I am literally coaching every second of the game. Get on your man. Who's your man? Stay in front of him. Move your feet. Like I'm coaching them through every rep. Like I make sure he plays defense. Like you're not relaxing at any second. Where's your man at? As soon as the ball is inbound, where's your man? Oh, you know what I mean? Like, so I'm all over him defensively because yes, like I could score, I could shoot, I could play, but I also knew coaches that I grew up with, they basically listen, let's say you're like neck and neck with another offensive player. For you young kids out there, guess what's going to get you in the court more? Defense. If you can get in,
what is that?
Go ahead.
What is that? I hear about you. They say B Moses. The O in Moses is for defense optional from B Moses. That's what they say.
That's not true. That is not true. But I'll tell you what, I did cheat defensively sometimes because I was long, like I have long arms. And look, I wasn't always tall. My freshman year, I was 5'9". I started off playing in all the leagues before high school. I was a point guard. I was a starting point guard. I didn't shoot up until high school.
So you were 5'9", so you're like Mike Lazowski from Monsters Inc. or something like that. Like
yes, I was a little guy. Little guy is relative, but I was not 6'4". My freshman year is my point. I shot up, and so I was used to, defending guards and stuff like that. So anyway, no, I play defense, Nevada. Don't you dare say that. You young boys out there, defense. It will get you on the court. Because look, sometimes Nevada, you talk about your sons not being that great offensively, but guess what though? When the game's on the line and you need a stop, guess who's out there?
Oh yeah.
So that don't forsake defense, guys. That's the lesson today. Gio did thanks for the 2. B Moses in Nevada. It was on Good Morning Football. I think that's what it said. I'm gonna find it. It's probably gonna be on my timeline when I get off this podcast. Somebody will have clipped it up and put it on Twitter. I'll find it, but I can't wait to see it, Nevada.
Yeah, no, I can't wait to see it either too. I love stuff like that, and you can tell a lot from interviews, man. You can tell a lot about body language and things that are said, things that are unsaid, and like I said, seeing Matt Patricia rocking the Ohio State gear definitely is something I'm going to enjoy for as long as he's here.
Definitely, definitely. Yep. And so we got what? It's almost mid-February. Listen, we're gonna blink and spring football will be here. We just gotta get through this little few weeks, February, March, because we start getting historically more information and more nuggets ramp up as we get closer to spring. We hear more, we get more. Spring ball comes. We just got to get through these little cold weeks, man, and whatnot. But it's all good, y'all. We are in the dead of the off season, but hey, Buckeye football is 365 days for sure, Nevada. But that is it for the super chats. Any last thoughts before we hop off here?
No, we're gonna be cooking stuff for the people do how they're doing in the winter workouts, how the mat drills are going along. So we should
Yeah.
have an update on that this week as well. So again, if you haven't subscribed, subscribe to us on YouTube, subscribe on Spreaker, subscribe on Apple Podcasts. Going for 40,000 subscribers, and we just appreciate you guys helping us out get there. So make sure you hit that subscribe button.
Yes, please do that. Please do that. And also remember, Dev, he is going live shortly after we hop off here. Make sure you slide over there and support him as well. But yep, listen, love your Buckeye Scoop family, Buckeye Nation. Always a pleasure linking up with y'all. Chat, always on fire. Until tomorrow, we will see you then. Go Bucks. Peace.